Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome back to the Evermore YouTube channel. It's Chris back with the instant match reaction to probably one of the most frustrating games I've watched in a long time. I'm sure you guys feel the same. Newcastle United 0, Brighton 1 at St James's Park. What the hell happened? We're going to try and make sense of it here on the post-match analysis. We are live tonight, as always. Drop in the comments. A few of you guys are already in there. I can see some of the comments already. And I totally and utterly agree with them, guys, to be honest with you. That was massively frustrating. And Eddie Howe cut a bit of a full-on figure there on the sideline, which I'm sure we'll talk about the manager as well. Just before we do, a little reminder, if you haven't already, smash subscribe. We'd love you to come and join us on the Evermore YouTube channel. We're a couple of hundred away from the 9,000 subscriber mark, where we have a really good prize to give away for that milestone, which is the blue retro McEwen's shirt from the Keegan era, where we could actually finish chances, unlike today. So that could be yours. So if you help get us to 9K, recommend us to family and friends. We'd love to have you. And as I say, we are live tonight. We'll get to some of your comments soon. I'm just on my own tonight. Mark isn't in the background doing his lovely Debbie McGee thing with the buttons. So I will do my very best to get through some of your comments. So let's get stuck in first about the lineup. So this is how we lined up today. No surprise, really. We all kind of called the starting 11, the talk of the strikers being fit. Isak was obviously the one who was more likely to be fit. Surprise, Callum Wilson needed more time. That's, needed more time in the RVI, I think, to be honest with you. Injury prone, made of glass. Should have flogged him ages ago. Terrible management by the club on that one. The big surprise for me was Louis Miley coming on the bench. I was really happy to see him back. He's been out a long time. I wasn't sure whether he was going to get any game time, but he didn't in the end, to be fair. A spoiler alert there. But it's nice to see Louis Miley back. It does give us more options on the bench moving forward. Harvey Barnes dropped to the bench in place of Jacob Murphy, which proved to be the right idea, didn't it? We'll get into that in a minute. But in terms of the other team, Brighton, the big news was obviously Yankuba Minteh didn't start the game. Was dropped from the starting lineup and dropped from the squad as well, by the looks of it. So I think he just come back from an international game, I think was the excuse or the reasoning, and he didn't play. Some people are speculating whether we're going to buy him back, and that's why he didn't play. I don't know. Maybe he was just scared to play against Lewis Hall. But let's talk about the game. I mean, dominance is probably the only word for the first half an hour. Newcastle were absolutely all over Brighton. We've talked about not getting Alexander Isak into the game this season so far. That's why he's only got one goal, which was an open goal against Spurs. But we got him into the game today. Some lovely passing, some intricate passing. I remember that chance, I think, it was between Bruno Guimaraes and Tonali, with a beautiful first-time flick by Tonali through ball. Lewis Hall hit a cracking ball over the top for Isak as well, I think, and Anthony Gordon. We just couldn't finish. We were all over them at one point. We had 80% possession versus 20% for Brighton, and it just looked like a matter of time, before Newcastle were going to score. The keeper was pulling off save after save. They were throwing block after block in, and it started to get that whiff of, okay, the next chance, and it just didn't happen. It just didn't come. I mean, in that first half, we had 64% possession. In terms of shots, we had 8 shots to their 3, which was unbelievable. 4 corners as well. We were all over them in that first half. And then what happens? True to form, typical. They go breaking at the other end of the pitch. We're all over them. And Danny Welbeck scores. The only one time I think that Fabian Schär fell asleep in the game. He just completely fell asleep in the game. And Welbeck, I think he gets a corner and he drops it down on his chest. Nice bit of control, in all fairness, but fucking hell, what were they doing? Fabian Schär completely fell asleep. The one time I think he was completely shite and fell asleep in the game. He was all right, Fabian. He wasn't brilliant. He wasn't at his Fabian best, but he falls asleep on that chance. Welbeck wriggles through. Tino Livramento's too soft to the challenge. I don't think Tino was great today, overall, to be honest with you. I think we missed Kieran Trippier massively in a game like that today, and it was really evident. And he wriggles through and he scores. I mean, Lewis Hall's kind of flying at the back there, trying to help him. I thought Lewis Hall had a really good game. I'll get into who I thought was our man of the match in a minute, but I thought Lewis Hall had a really good game in terms of his use of the ball. Some of his passing was crisp. It was brilliant. It was adventurous. It was brave. And, we were sitting scratching our heads thinking, how in the fuck are we 1-0 down against this lot in the first half? And chance after chance, and just Newcastle weren't doing it. Isak goes through one-on-one and you think it's got to be a goal, and he fluffs it again. His touch looked rusty, his movement looked shaky. You're just thinking, what in the fucking hell is going on here? Unbelievable. We get some of your comments here. Super chat by Dan. Thanks, Dan. Lovely for that, mate. Isak needs to go or start Asula and push Isak. Isak looks so rusty, man. I know it takes 4 or 5 games to get into the swing, but He had so many opportunities today. His touch was shit. His movement was rusty. He just didn't look like the Alexander Isak that was signed. I was waiting for him to pull the mask off Scooby-Doo style. It was fucking Sammy Amiobi or something. Hyperbole has gifted 5 Evermore memberships. Thank you so much, mate. That's really, really kind of you. Let's get some of your comments up here. There is plenty of you getting in the comments. I'm just going to try and scroll for when the game finishes. Here we go. Yeah, Hyperbole says lack of finishing. Chris says, what the fuck is going on? Dean says we couldn't hit a barn door. I totally agree with all of those lads. Big Al is saying Eddie killed the game with his subs. You know what? We'll get into the subs. Second half again. I think we have chances. We'll get through. That they play that high line. We find space. Gordon finds space, and just not good enough. Just not good enough with the chances. Not good enough whatsoever. Eddie makes the subs. The weirdest substitutions I think I've ever seen in my life. Alexander Isak was stinking up St James's Park. He was fucking terrible. It strike the Paris Saint-Germain game again, where he was on one leg and then he wouldn't go to the bench and change him. So he brings on the substitutions, which blew my fucking mind, to be honest with you. So on the 65th minute, he brings on Harvey Barnes and he brought on so Harvey Barnes and Willock it was, who did fuck all, the pair of them, awful. Harvey Barnes, impact sub, as people have called him, can't start games and influence them. Didn't do anything today either. Joe Willock, awful. That guy has regressed so badly at his time at Newcastle United. He looks a shadow of the player that he once was. He doesn't run anywhere. He runs into dead ends. He doubles back on himself. He falls on his arse. He throws his hands at wanting free kicks. He's not getting in the box to get goal scoring opportunities. He's trying that outside of the foot pass that he did against Spurs for Isak's goal and battered them 6-1. Every time he gets on that wide position, and it either goes out of play or goes straight to an opposition player. So those two were dog shit when they come on. Anthony Gordon then come off, and Bruno for Miggy Almiron and Sean Longstaff. We were 1-0 down, chasing the game, and the manager thinks that bringing on Miggy Almiron and Sean Longstaff is going to save that game for us. I mean, fucking hell. Answer that, Eddie Howe. Riddle me that. I'm sorry. I don't care how canny lads they are and how good they are on Shearer's podcast. Them two ain't going to fucking get you a point or win you that game. I mean, the saddest state of affairs was at the end of the game where we had a free kick, and I think we had 9 minutes after an injury time. We had a free kick ready to load the box, and Sean Longstaff went to take it. And I'm sorry, I could have predicted that he wasn't going to clear the first man. That's exactly what happened. Terrible. As Connor says, most frustrating game since the Everton game, which was the last fucking game. Comment there from Adiri saying, hi, Chris. How are you? My man of the match is Nick Pope and Isak Afasula start for Newcastle United. Yeah. Well, I mean, Asula's got to get a chance, really. I mean, he had a little bit of a sniff towards the end. When did he actually bring him on? It's all a bit of a blurry. I'm just trying to see. Yeah, he brought him on for 92 minutes he brought him on. So he brought him on for 5 minutes. And for all people, not for Alexander Isak, he brought him on for Lewis Hall. Lewis Hall? And you're thinking, Lewis Hall actually had a really good game. I mean, I'm just trying to look at the SofaScore stats here in terms of what Lewis Hall did today, because I don't know about you guys, I just felt Lewis Hall was always on the ball. I mean, the two best players for me, I think, on the pitch were probably Nick Pope and Lewis Hall with Dan Burn in that mix as well. But yeah, you look at the Lewis Hall's heat map. He was fucking everywhere. At one point, he was a deep line midfield. He was a centre half. I'm just looking at the stats there. 91 passing accuracy, 6 crosses, 6 of his long balls that he tried all went through, which in terms of his strike rate, which I think is absolutely brilliant. In terms of his quality on the pitch, 5 tackles as well, 2 clearances. A little bit of a ropey header in the box, but yeah, I would have given Lewis Hall my man of the match because I just thought he was probably the best of a bad bunch, I suppose. But there was some good play in that game, but just no end product. Yeah, again, just like the Everton game, as George says, they couldn't finish a wank in a brothel. I think we were absolutely terrible today. David saying, nail on about the frustrating point. Maybe never. We were in that box 40 times. The quality was shocking. You got to look at this now, and you got to think to yourself, what is the manager seeing, and why is the manager not changing things around? Why is the manager bringing in players like Murphy who aren't going to do the job? And why is he not being ruthless enough with his changes, in my opinion? I mean, we had Louis Miley on the bench. I know he's just come back from a long layoff, but if you've got a choice between a player that can find the pass or do something in an attacking purpose to get you a goal, to rescue a point in this game, would you bring on Sean Longstaff or would you bring on Louis Miley, a kid who had, what did he have, 4 assists in the gathering of games that he played at 17 years old last season? I'd have brought Louis Miley on. At least he might have threaded a ball through for a goal, or he might have taken a shot. Sean will run around all day long, but he isn't going to get you back into the game and get you a point, really, in all fairness. So Firestar is saying it's not Howe's fault Gordon was playing rugby. Gordon was poor today. First half, he looked good on the left-hand side, looked a lot more at home, I think, on that left-hand side in terms of, finding space and getting him. But again, cutting back inside, just Isak was rusty. There was nobody in the middle. There was no outlet for him to find that ball to get his shot off. Really, when he did get his shot off, he either fluffed it was too soft, or Jacob Murphy got in the fucking way. But Thurman Rockhopper, once we went behind, it was game over. That's really depressing, isn't it? Because that's how it feels right now. Newcastle cannot score. We're conceding shit goals and we cannot score. That is not a good place to be. It really, really isn't. Szechuan says we need Botman back. Botman does give you that quality. There's no doubt about it. It gives you that calmness. It gives you that assurance. He's got pace as well, which is something that we do lack at the back, even with Lewis Hall. But Tino Livramento, bags of pace. Tino was shocking today. Some of them first touches were pub team-esque. There were schoolboy football touches. Touching the ball and the ball rolling 4 yards. There was a bit where Matoma gets in the second half and he scores. He hits Nick Pope in the head, I think, and goes over the bar. Awful touch by Tino Livramento. Absolutely no positional sense whatsoever. And it really, really worries me, that maybe we bigged Tino up way too much. He's got in the England squad, of all things, but he's been shit, I think, in the last few games for Newcastle. And that's why we're screaming we need Kieran Trippier back. Bryce said it's exactly the result of not signing 1 or 2 quality forwards. 100%, mate. I totally agree with you on that regard. I think that's a position the club have completely fell asleep on. If we'd had a proper centre forward to come off the bench, and I said this to Mark when we were looking for centre forwards when we were in the summer, I said you don't have to necessarily get a young striker. You could either get a young striker or you could have got a striker who's coming towards the end of the career. I'm not saying Olivier Giroud, but an Olivier Giroud type player that understands he's maybe got 1 or 2 years left in him and he's happy to, be in and be out of the squad and understand it's a squad rolling game and come off the bench to change games. Somebody like Callum Wilson who can stay fit. That's the kind of player that we probably should have signed. But the club didn't do that. The club went for a young striker, which is fine, but they didn't go for, probably in my opinion, a better version of that young striker. The shape of Liam Delap, who went Ipswich, he would have done a better job for us, than Asula. Just, people are saying he's not Premier League ready. I think Eddie Howe has even said he's not Premier League ready. Why the fuck did we sign him then? And why is he in the squad if he's not Premier League ready? I don't really understand that at all. Davey says Willock is a missing person. I totally agree. Willock has been awful. I'd sell Willock in January in a fucking heartbeat. If someone offered us a decent enough amount from me, be gone. Gary is saying, last time we scored from open play was a defeat to Fulham. Harvey Barnes, White Tate and Arley out of today. We ended up with a Brucey midfield, Willock, Big Joe, Longstaff and Murphy. Why is he still at the club? I totally agree, Gary. Tonali was great today. I thought he used the ball really well. I thought he overlapped well on the right-hand side. I mean, in terms of just looking at what he did, he got a 7 on SOFA score. Again, just looking at what Tonali did in terms of his kind of numbers today, so he's got a 20 out of 23 passes, 87% passing accuracy, 1 key pass, 1 cross. He won 5 of his 8 ground duels. He won none of the non-aerial duels, 2 interceptions and 4 tackles. And I just thought he used the ball really well. He made himself available. He took the pressure off Bruno as well in terms of somebody being on the ball, making something happen. I thought Bruno looked better, for Tonali being alongside him. But they created the chances for Isak, and he didn't take them. They created the chances for Gordon. He didn't take them. Murphy looks scatterbrained there when he's out there. He's got all the pace and all the endeavour and all the running in the world. He's got no football brain whatsoever. He ignores overlap runs. He cuts back inside and passes to people who are marked or in danger of being closed down. He just has no football intelligence whatsoever, Jacob Murphy. He gets by on the fact that he's a lovely lad and people wave. He waves and smiles and he's funny on the socials and things like that. It's absolutely fucking terrible. 2 seconds. Comments here. Absolutely shite, says Ian. My head was spinning there. There's so many comments. Yeah, Hyperbole, why did he take off Tonali? These are questions that I want him to be asked. Why is he taking off good players that can win you games? And D saying sickening, especially to defeat that kind of goal, top 6, my Harry Hall. I've got to be honest. I mean, if we don't improve drastically, in terms of the way we manage games, we won't be top 6. There's no chance. I mean, it'd be interesting to know where we're going to be come the January transfer window, because that'll be a true measure as to what the board are thinking around the manager. Because if they back him with signings in January, then great. Hopefully we can get to those top 6 positions, but it's going to be a stretch, I think, if we keep playing like this, I must admit. George says Tonali was good, excellent passing. He was. That little flick for the chance for Isak, that was the goal. That if Isak had put that away, that was some of the best football I've seen us play in a long time. William saying he's lost for words. What a shit show, absolutely. Michael McDougall saying, beaten by a bear in the opposite dugout. Our manager's on a downward trajectory. Maybe we should have fuck off the transfer budget and hire Big Wedge at Turkey Teeth. Well, I think he's a bit busy managing all those Red Bull clubs, I think, isn't he, or whatever he's doing. But, Eddie's going to be under pressure. There's no doubt. He looked really pissed off at the end of the game, and rightly so, because that was awful by the lads. It really, really was. It was whatever the plan was there, it wasn't pushed through. I mean, the fucking corners again. Jesus wept. These corners. I mean, Jason Tyndall's living under this mad dog Tyndall fucking moniker. He cannot organise a set piece to save his fucking life. The short ones were shit. The long ones were shit. The decision making is awful. I think the only one we came close was when they aimed for the tallest player in the box, and Dan Burnham. We actually got a little bit closer, which is just fucking mental. It really is. Chipper's in the house. Good to see you, Chipper. I was chatting to him earlier on a Toon Review chat. Chipper is saying, why does Eddie persist in the 65-minute subs? Wasted 65 minutes of fuck all from Murphy. I honestly don't know, Chippers. I don't know what he's thinking. That Jacob Murphy is such a limited player that when he's not in a game and he's not doing anything, you got to hook him earlier than that. I totally agree, Chippers. You got to hook him earlier than that. He's not offering anything. He's just running about, and for me, just fucking waste of time, as you say, waste of time. I mean, Almiron has his criticizers, and I'm one of them, but Almiron could have at least give you a little bit more than what Murphy did earlier on. Joe Litton, the destroyer. Louis Miley hasn't played in months. That would be worse than Longstaff. It really wouldn't. Joe Litton really wouldn't, because Louis Miley can actually pass a ball forward and has a vision to do it, whereas Sean just runs around like a dog chasing a ball on Whitley Bay Beach. His passing's shit. I like Sean. He's a lovely kid, but his passing's awful. You saw that today. As soon as he come on, misplaces the ball, loses it, runs by people without the ball, and then he gets on the set piece, and I could have fucking took that cross better. I'm telling you right now, I bet you a tenner I could have cleared the first man over him. Brian saying Bruno was so poor, so frustrating at times. I think the problem is with Bruno, he overplays sometimes. There's all that stud roll and 360 turns and sticking the arse out in the players. People will kind of figure that out quite quickly. He needs to mix up his game a little bit, I feel. I mean, Joe Litton was funny because in the first half, I thought Joe Litton was good. He was going around, he was destroying people. But I thought he faded as the game went on, much like a lot of the players did. So I think a midfield change could have been on the cards. And I would like to have seen Miley get some game time, because I know he can get in the ball and he uses the ball well. And as people have said there before, that midfield that we finished the game with is really, really poor. I'm sorry. I mean, Joe Willock, honestly, I don't want to see Joe Willock anywhere near this fucking team until he can get his shit together and get fit, because he's not fit. He looks fucked every time he's on the pitch, whether it's 2 minutes on, 20 minutes on, he just looks knackered. He's running into nowhere. His touch is shit. He doesn't get his head up, and he's a waste of a shirt at the minute. Andy Ford saying, no goals, no play for nearly 400 minutes. That is fucking terrible. Thanks for that, Andy. Not your comment, the stat. Paying the price for not strengthening in the summer. This team is reaching its shelf life, in my opinion, and it's Chelsea and Arsenal next. I mean, fuck me. That team against the likes of Cole Palmer, just, put your head between your legs and pray, because that is absolutely terrifying. The prospect, it really is. Davy's saying, correct, Chris Young, Miley would have found that killer pass. The game was made for him. I think this is the problem with Eddie. He's got that loyalty to those players that have got him there in terms of, the top 4 finish, the top 7 finish. And I understand that. But he has to be honest with himself and know that that's a game that needs a bit of quality. And does Jacob Murphy have that quality? No. He's got bags of endeavour, bags of graft. He'll run all day for you, but he ain't got the quality. Same with Sean, copy and paste. You look at that squad, you think, who's got the quality? Miggy's like those two, but he has those weird little moments, Miggy, where out of nowhere he might just turn a raker in from 30 yards. So I understand Miggy coming on, but Louis Miley's already showed he's got that little bit of quality, that ability to find the pass, and he didn't even look at him for the bench, and maybe it's a fitness thing, I don't know, but just not good. And I agree with you, Ian. Isak looks a shadow of himself. Here's a question for you, if you can answer it in the chat, guys. What is the fucking point of James Bunce if these players can't stay fit? Answer me that. I know he's not been here that long, but what is he doing? I want to know what they're doing. Why don't the journalists ask that in the fucking press conference instead of which Gallagher brother Eddie likes better, or what does he prefer, on his chips, gravy, or curry sauce? Fucking useless. Got a new member, Chippers, has clicked that button. Thank you so much, Chippers, mate. Really appreciate having you here, Bonnie Land. Thanks for that. If you guys want to do it as well, smash that button. Go on, there's a very strange person in the comments there, which I don't think I'll be commenting there, not just because your handle is an atrocious name, but your banter stinks as well. So I won't be doing that. Don't you worry about that, guys. Let's get a few more comments down the line here. Dan is saying, Isak only ever performs when Wilson is breathing down his neck, which is true. They were at best when they're competing for starting 11. Livramento looks better when he has Trippier to come on in case. Well, do you know what, Dan? If those players need that competition to perform, then I think they need to have a good look at themselves, because we should be expecting more from them, especially a £65 million centre-forward who scored nearly as many goals as Erling Haaland last season. Where's he gone? What's happened to him? I don't understand it. It's just scary stuff. Somebody said in the Tune Review chat, is he starting to believe his own hype? I really hope not, because he needs to sort himself out. Marvy Wilson, Mags moaning already. Okay. I don't know if that's is she Callum Wilson's mum or something, having a bit of a twist that your son's never fit. Maybe we should give him some more milk, Marvy. When he was younger, he might be fucking fitter. Tony saying, taking Tonali and Gordon off was leniency. I think that's leniency, he's meant to say. For Almiron and Murphy, Eddie's game management is questionable. I think you have to look at that now. You really do. It's, I don't know. I want to give Eddie the benefit of the doubt. 2 seconds, guys. I'm just going to block this fucking tit in the comments. Bye-bye, tit end. If you did you see that guy with a very, very funny name and decided to name himself after a murderer in the Northeast and then just throw loads of abuse in there. He's obviously got bored of Pornhub and decided to come in here and give us grief. But, my slogan, guys, if you're a prick, you get the flick. Adios. Got Uncle Buzzcocks in the house. Good to see you, mate. Great first half. Frantic and panicking all second half. Subs absolutely dreadful. Still can't believe Tonali came off that early. I mean, when is Tonali going to get pissed off with this and turn around to Eddie and ask him what the fuck is he doing? Honestly, I don't understand it. Ian saying, why is Lewis Hall on the corners? But because he can cross the ball, Ian, I don't think many of the rest of them have got the nuts to even take a corner. Ronnie's saying, we played okay, but our finish was a pawn and the subs were baffling. That's a good summary, Ronald, to be fair. You could write for the Chronicle, I think, mate. You do a better job than half of them. Lindsay saying, we're missing trips for corners. Absolutely, Lindsay, because he can actually cross the ball and he can divvy it up a little bit as well. Gordon's absolutely right. We need to do better in front of goal, 100%. That is the statement of the day. Graham TC Travels, good to see you, bud. Is Isak and Willock, short sharpness, good build of play, and then nothing, no confidence, plus free kicks. Not with having. Do you know the free kicks as well? I mean, that one that Cher shot in the first half, it was tailor-made for a left footer. If I was Lewis Hall, I would have run up and smashed it and had a go. I just don't understand it. I really, really don't. Why he's not doing it. Uncle Buzzcocks and Howe's got the next 3 games for me. The pressure is now on. It's an interesting statement. There will be times, I think, when that pressure is going to turn up on him. Mitchell is in the crowd there. He's not looking particularly pleased. I mean, Amanda's not there anymore. He should to protect Eddie. So it will be an interesting next 3 or 4 games. I mean, the fact is Chelsea and Arsenal, Buzzcocks might buy him a little bit of time, but shit needs to improve quick, because if they want to finish in Europe this season and we're way off the pace, by Christmas he'll be out on his arse. Simple as that. Chippers is saying he thinks that Tonali sub is a power sub since he was an Ashworth signing, almost like I'm the coach. I really hope not, because he spoke very highly of Tonali, Chippers, all throughout the suspension, and I think he's handled it quite well, Eddie, and he's always talked him up, as his player. So I really hope that isn't the case. But just from a general football knowledge point of view, I mean, I would rather take a 40% fit Sandro Tonali over 100% fit Sean Longstaff at the minute, because Sean again is regressing. He's not really moving on from the Sean that was great for us in that top 4 season when he scored the goals and get us into the cup final and everything else. He's offering very, very little, as is Willock, as is Murphy, as is Almiron. There's too much of this squad that's not offering enough right now, and that's the big problem for me that Eddie has to address. All these players, these loyal little lieutenants of his, are regressing and they're not offering enough quality. So what's the answer? Don't keep playing and don't keep starting them, mate. That's not the answer. Hyperbole with a super chat. Thanks, buddy. I love Eddie, but can't understand why Tonali went off. Yeah, it's a question. He gets a lot of shit, right? But the only journalist who would probably ask that question for me is Craig Hope. The rest of them don't ask the questions. Craig will ask a difficult question like that. I mean, Craig doesn't seem to be a massive fan of Tonali, even though he says he is. But he's the only person I think would ask that question, because everyone else just seems to kiss Eddie's arse because they want to keep him on side in case they come on his podcast and do an interview with him. Less of that, I got shit for that on Twitter. Vincent said, Chris, the lack of silence, summer silence, is showing Eddie's rigid formation. Bad substitutions are big problems. Isak's not out at number 9, despite his goals last season. Terrible set pieces. Very interesting, Vincent. I was thinking about this the day with Isak, and I think you might be right. I don't think he is a traditional number 9. I think he likes to play off and kind of pull out wide, a little bit like Thierry Henry did. So maybe we need another striker that can play it with him, that can hold the ball up, bring it down, bring people into play. Off the top of my head, I'm trying to think of that player in world football right now. I don't know who it would be. Let us know in the comments if you can think of anybody. I'm thinking of Vlahovic from Juventus potentially that could do that. Who I know Juventus were in the shit, and then we're needing to cash in on players. And Isak kind of playing off him, for example, could work really well. He's scoring loads of goals for Sweden because he's got a really good strike partner alongside him, and is it Gorgons as well? He's scoring loads of goals for Sporting Lisbon, I think it is. So maybe the answer is here to put Isak in the front too, instead of playing him up front on his own, because it's just not working at the moment. Graham's saying we've not replaced the average players over the last few seasons. Now it's shown 100%. I've said that for ages, and I just can't understand why the club haven't done it, apart from FFP and PSR. Paul saying results, I guess, is totally inevitable after the awful summer transfer window. No proper replacement for Wilson, no right winger. Club is to blame. Expect more of this as the season goes on. We will finish 9th to 11th. And I don't think that's negative, Paul. I think that's really pragmatic, mate, because the way we're going at the minute, we are not going to finish top 6. Not at all. Nick saying no issues for Villa away at Fulham. Well, there you go. Villa are a good side. They've signed well. I mean, Christ, I remember saying that John Duran was a shit house in the summer. All that West Ham links. Maybe we should have went for him. That boy can fucking finish, by the way, can't he? The goal against Bayern, the goal for Colombia midweek. He's the kind of player we need to bring off the bench, maybe like a Cisse that can smash a ball in the back of the net like that, because Isak is not doing that at the moment at all. Malcolm's had enough. He says it's pretty obvious we need a better manager now. And who's out there though, Malcolm? Who's the manager that we could get? I mean, the guy who took the England job, Thomas Tuchel would have been a good manager for us. Who knows who's out there at the minute? If Eddie gets the bullet, would Nagelsmann leave Germany or something to come and be our manager? I don't know. Let us know in the comments below if you want rid of Eddie. Then who's the man to come in? Because I'm not sure who it would be at the minute. JC saying the lack of recruitment has cost us big time and Eddie's been too loyal. That's also cost us. I totally agree. Paul White saying we can play the best football in the world, but if you can't score, it means nout. I totally and utterly agree with that. Baz is saying smash it. I hope you mean the like, Baz, or unless you're busy doing something else, mate. I appreciate your comment if you are. But yeah, smash the like, guys, if you can. I really appreciate that. Graham saying, in fairness, Miley is going to be back in training in a couple of weeks. Now, I get that, Graham. And to be fair, it's a stretch because I was thinking to myself, would he actually try and bring him on? But just because we were so shit in the game, I just thought, what's 10 minutes going to hurt to see if he can find a pass or even have a shot himself? He scored that goal against Fulham, made a nice run, a little link up with Bruno. It was a good finish, if you remember. So just thinking of the players that we had to change the game, but I get the reason why he didn't play him, so I'm not really too hard on him on that one. Agent Text Stream saying, super chat, thank you very much, bud. Too many shots. At keeper, Gordon and Isak off. Eddie, not shooting, absolutely. And Roadblock, absolutely. It is not easy being a Magpie. We felt it was at one point, but it's kind of reverted back to form now, isn't it? Which is not particularly good. Kev is saying, Chris, what other manager takes off one Italian international, one Brazilian international, and brings Longstaff and Willock on? Give me a break. That's very hard to argue with, Kev, I've got to say. Peter Kennedy saying rigid formations, a complete lack of plan B for a long time now, dreadful set pieces, and those substitutions speak of a manager in panic and out of ideas. I must admit, Peter, looking at him on the sideline, he had that manager in trouble look, and I hope he's not, but he had that look about him, looking at the sky, puffing his cheeks, and we've seen that loads before in the Premier League with managers. I hope that he does get the support in the time. I don't want rid of Eddie Howe, but he needs to start sorting this out, or he's going to find himself in really hot water. Michael saying sometimes I really can't be arsed supporting Newcastle. It's draining. I agree with you, mate. Done it for so long, done it through worse times than this, and it ages you. I'm only 23. I'm joking. Smarty saying, does Eddie have a plan B? No, is the answer, Smarty. I don't think he does. And do we know why Amanda fucked off? I've got a theory on that too. I think Amanda fucked off because of the FFP PSR thing. The PIF was so outraged that they could have been embarrassed for not managing the finances properly. I think she was escorted out of the door pretty much. That's what I think it was. Another comment there from Roy. saying, agree with everything you say, not looking forward to the next games. I'm not either. Andrew says, double header at Chelsea. I'll be away on holiday, actually, so Mark will be taking care of that, which, God bless him. He'd be watching through his fingers, I think, to be honest with you. But, yeah, I'm not looking for that. Chelsea look decent this season as well. Look very, very dangerous. And, yeah, not particularly great. Ronnie's saying that just being on Radio Newcastle, we touched the ball 45 times in Brighton's box and them 12. Wow. I mean, if you look at the stats as well, the overall shooting stats of the game is abysmal, really. So the overall shooting stats of the game, we had 21 shots, and I think we had 4 of them the goalkeeper saved. They had 10 shots, and 6 of them the goalkeeper saved. So you don't have to be Rachel Riley to see the maths on that one. Our shooting was not good, and theirs was a lot more kind of crisp and a lot more on the money, really, with that. Which is something the manager is definitely going to have to answer. But they won't ask him because everyone's too scared of asking them questions. What we got here? Look at a few more of these comments here. Ty said it could be worse. We could be West Ham or Everton or Man United as well. What got another comment from those aren't pillows. Lovely. We could finish 10th this season and people would still support Eddie. It's very strange the kind of level of cult-like following that Eddie has got is scary at times. It really is. And look, I'm a big fan of Eddie Howe. I think he's done a brilliant job here. He saves from relegation, got us Champions League, 7th last season. Unlucky not to be in Europe, just a technicality. But football managers are measured in the moment. I always go back to Claudio Ranieri. He won Leicester City, the Premier League. Dilly dilly dong. He won Leicester City, the Premier League. The greatest achievement that club has ever done in their entire existence, probably, in terms of the story and everything else. And he got binned. There was no sentiment there. He got pied because they thought he took the team as far as he could take him and he was gone. So these people talking about Eddie like he's some kind of Christ-like savior, you get your fucking head a wobble. You really do. And they also think the club can do no wrong, whether it's, the players that hang on to too long, bad transfer windows, commercial decisions, supporting certain things that people disagree with, like me. They attack you, they jump on you, they go for you. Scary. It was a scary time being a Newcastle fan. Mark saying, so frustrating, it really, really is. Yeah, Ian Twintrade, I blame that prick of a cat, Chris. Where is it, Ian? He's hiding. I blame him too. I think he scratched Isak before the game, the bastard, and made him shit at finishing. Sensible Monica is saying, Gordon, Bruno, and especially Isak had a worse game for us today. It's now blatantly clear that Eddie has lost his ability to motivate the team. What happens in 2 games when we're 2 points out of 18? Very, very good question, mate. That's one for the board to answer. But I must admit, I don't think Eddie has the same level of support with this new board that he had with the old one. I think that is abundantly clear. So I think if they start to lose the confidence in him, then he could be in big trouble. Ooh, would I take Moyes, Joe Linton, the Destroyer? Listen, I think Moyes is a decent manager. But personally, no, I wouldn't. I think we'd need to look higher than that, better than that. I don't know who that would be, where you would go. But I wouldn't take David Moyes personally. I mean, Tuchel would have been a really good manager, I think, if we were going to pull a trigger on Eddie Howe. More experienced, is one more, can structure a team a bit better. But I don't know who we would go for, where we would go. We might have to take somebody who's already in the job, like a Nagelsmann or even Poch from the American job. Who knows if you could get them out of that contract. But I don't think we would go for them. Brendan Rodgers, there's a name. Would you take Brendan Rodgers? He's got his detractors, but he plays some good football as well. I don't know. Let us know in the comments, guys, if you take Brendan Rodgers, because I think he's a decent manager still. Scott is saying, I think we should give Pope a break and play Odyssey. I think it's Odysseus or Odyssey. I don't know if you're having fun or it's a spelling problem. As he's seen play really well against England. Calming the ball, some good saves. Pope just never looked comfortable outside of 6-shot box. Made some good saves today, though. He really, really did. There were very reactionary saves where I think Pope comes into his own, really, in that regard. But without him, we would have got beat 2 or 3-0 probably. Marcus is uninspired once again. Where's the fucking passion? It's not there, is it? Intensity is no longer our identity. It is for half an hour. Then after that, we're completely gone. Giovaniola is saying, hard to attract class players in January if we slip down the table. That I totally agree. We did it before, though. Bruno Guimaraes and Trippier and Botman all joined a team that was, in the relegation zone or mid-table. So it can be done if you sell a project to them right. But will they come under this manager? That's the question. You have to look at that. He'd rather sign Semenyo from Bournemouth or somebody else. I mean, the Lloyd Kelly signing for me, again, dog shit. Sorry, dog shit. Not a good player. Trevor Miller saying, Howe needs to go. Sick of saying that the sentiment needs to die. When you stop living in 21, 22, fresh eyes are needed. A lot of clubs do it. But we won't do it because we are, we obviously are supporting the manager. Rich disagrees with the happy clappers. No, sorry, he's not, beg your pardon. He agrees with you. Beg your pardon, Rich. The happy clappers need to give a head a shake. We're mid-table with this manager. Absolutely. And as well with Danny Welbeck, I must admit, Danny Welbeck, I hope he's all right. I don't know what the result is from that injury. That looked really bad, that, when he went down. Obviously scored the goal, he played really well. Real kind of innocuous challenge with Fabian Schär, but you don't like to see a player going down and being stretched off like that. So I hope Danny Welbeck is okay. He can get back this season and play some football, because that looked like a bad one as well. In terms of new manager, Belly81 saying Klopp. Do you know what? I've slagged Klopp off more than anybody, but I would be doing backflips down the road if Jurgen Klopp was the next Newcastle United manager. But I'm not sure it's going to happen, to be real honest with you. Ian is saying Eddie Howe is fucking mint, and I'd rather shit in my hands and clap than have Moyes as that manager. I think Eddie's growing a bit stale, though, Ian. I think he needs to freshen himself up. I don't know what it is, but whatever Eddie was doing before doesn't seem to be working now, where these players have just become too complacent because they think he's going to play them out of a sense of loyalty, or what? Maybe it's new blood that's needed in the squad to kick them up the arse. We did that last time. We signed new players, and all of a sudden the players that we thought were shit went up 2 or 3 levels. Well, actually, they're quite good. And maybe that's the problem. You don't sign enough players that can start and take that place off them. You don't get that performance. And that's a failing of the club, in my opinion. Trevor says, Rodgers, fuck no. I thought you would say that, Trev, to be fair. But, it's interesting. I think we'll sharp see at the end of the season, because I think if we don't finish in a European spot, I think he's gone. As simple as that. Tiger Studios, good to see him. I haven't seen you in a while. Villa are strong week in, week out with Champions League. What is our excuse? How out before this gets ugly? You've had enough, mate. And do you know what? You're welcome to share your opinion on this channel. We don't run you down for it at all. That is not something that we do here. We welcome all kind of opinions on the channel, unless you start being a prick like that weirdo before. Did you see him in the comments, everybody? What a fucking loser. He just kept going, comment after comment after comment. I don't know if he just snorted a line or two in the toilet somewhere and decided to watch something on YouTube and have a bit of crack. See you later, mate. Literally have a bit of crack. My days. Right, we'll do a couple more comments, guys, and then we'll be gone. Trevor says, show me the way at Jose Mourinho. I tell you what, the way the Brighton players were going down, like they've been shot from the east stand. I thought Jose was in the tunnel, was in the dugout for Brighton at one particular point. But oh my days, honestly, absolutely horrendous. We've got a comment here from Michael. I think it must be a Brighton fan. Very happy with the win. Dan Burn was very good for you guys. Dan Burn was good, Michael. If you're a Brighton fan, Dan Burn never let you guys down as well. Limited player, but good player. Gives it his best. Comment here from Vincent. City are being linked with, the other manager. Yeah, the sporting manager. If Pep goes, would love to go all out and get him. Yeah, well, it'd be interesting to see. But I think Mitchell's that well connected in world football. If he's had enough of Howe, I think he'll already have a short list drawn up. But I still think Howe has got credit in the bank here, and I think he'll get the full season, to be honest with you. I think that's exactly what he'll get from this board, unless, as George says, it is ugly now. It'll be interesting to see him. We've got 2 really tough games coming up, against Chelsea and Arsenal, and I wonder where the hell we're going to go as a team from there. But I think that's me pretty much done for the summary today, guys. Thank you so much to everybody who jumped in the comments. Always appreciate it. Always helps these things flow. You keep me busy, especially when Mark's not there, as well in the background to click on the buttons. If this is the kind of thing you guys like, smash subscribe. Come and help us get to that 9K subscriber mark. We really appreciate all the support that you guys give us. All free content. If you want to become a member, some of you being gifted memberships today, and if you want to continue that on, smash that button there after your gifted membership runs out and hang around a little bit longer. We'll try and do a bit more for members going forward, I think, because we probably do need a little bit more for you guys who have loyally clicked that button. So have a belt, everybody. Horrible game today, frustrating as shit. Let's hope that the manager addresses the problems, sorts his shit out for the next game, and we can get back to winning ways. Have a belt, everyone. We'll see you later. Cheers.